Surprise! Hello everyone, my name is Bradley. I have a Brad taste in music. Now before I get into any major details of this video, I think there's something to be said about what I like to call, cringe culture. Oh, you know exactly what I mean. After doing a positive reaction to the Black Parade, I quickly discovered why exactly this thing has been avoided, like the plague. Are you confused? Let me give you a real-world example of what I'm talking about. This is what happened to me today in my college class. I was sitting in my seat, minding my own business as usual, when all of a sudden, my professor says the word panic. All of a sudden, the word is mirrored by a fellow peer. They say, panic. And then, for one last time, I hear, Panic at the Disco! Now, my first response to this was an uncontrollable My muscles shook violently as I crawled into a ball of cringe as if I had just digested an entire bag of Sour Patch Kids, except for I wasn't digesting them, I was just injecting the sour stuff into my bloodstream. Fans really do ruin everything. They ruined Undertale, Rick and Morty, and especially My Chemical Romance, The Black Parade. I'm really making this video because this album, despite the incredible cringe culture that has been developed around it, is a hidden gem that shouldn't be buried under unfunny G-Note memes and kids that are so emo that they openly admit to being emo and cringy in their Twitter bios. I represent to you The Black Parade, an absolutely dramatic and heart-pounding rock album about a dying cancer patient. That's right. You heard me correctly. I said a rock album, because that's what this is. This is not emo shit. Despite the fame around the emo crowd, much like me, this is not emo. It hits emotional peaks and huge dramatic intensities, but it does not make it emo. It may be partially emo at points, but it's mostly hard rock, noise rock, pop punk, and just an epic listening experience that is undermined because of the crowd that it attracts. So what I'm doing today is very simple. I'll be running down the tracks on the Black Parade from worst to best. I already did a long reaction / review, so I'll try to keep things as brief as possible. Also, I'm going to be giving every song a score out of 10, mostly to just sort of keep track of where my mind's at with averaging out things and whatnot. It's you know, it's just where I think it lands in terms of the album. But besides that, let's not stall anymore, starting with
Gallons of the stuff, give them all that they can drink, and it will never be enough, so give them blood.
Hey Bradley. Yeah, what? I just watched your 43-minute review on the Black Parade, man, and where's Blood? Wait, what? You know, the hidden track, the thing that closes off the album. Oh, yeah, Blood, yeah. You mean the hidden track, the one that was so unimportant that I didn't put it in the video. Yeah, that one. It's clearly on the track listing, so I don't know if you just accidentally skipped it. Yeah, that song is pretty much everything I don't like about the genre that it's in. The snarky, obnoxious attitude, the 1 minute pretentious hidden intro, and of course the really childish character breaking. It feels more like a bonus track if anything. So I just literally didn't count it as a track. No, I don't think you get it, fam. It's supposed to be a garbage song. 3 out of 10. Number 13, Disenchanted. I still do not like this track. I think it's a really terrible follow-up to Teenagers, which is already a tough track to follow up considering how far off of context it is from the rest of the album. Maybe it would have been a better follow-up to Sleep, but generally I think that where it is pretty horrendous. It sounds pretty generic. The singing that drops off the beat and the lyrics that, well, of course, they tie together the theme in a kind of cute way, it just doesn't sound pleasant. It's kind of a mess of a track. Plus, it's incredibly forgettable. It seems like there's a lot lot of self-pity and complaining about society, and it's really a song that contextually could have been left out. It serves very little to the mood of the album, however it does serve a purpose in the grieving process. That's sort of the big thing that I pulled here, is that it's like, okay, he's sobbing, it seems like, you know, his anger, he got his anger out, but it just seems so flaccid in terms of how epic this album has been built up to be, where every single high, even the emotional ones, like on Cancer, they really punch you in the gut, they really hit you in the face, but this was just weak, this was flimsy, especially considering what could have been done with this song. It just doesn't click with me due to the really weak performance also. I find it really tough to enjoy a lot of the singing on this track. There are occasional moments that do sound sweet, but just generally, I think that it does not go nearly as far as the other tracks before it did, and as a result, comparatively, it's a 5 out of 10.
That I can make you stay, but where's your...
Number 12 is Famous Last Words, the final song on this album. This song has grown a little bit since my initial listen. I believe maybe my biggest issue is that the ending to this album wasn't what I wanted it to be, and maybe that's my fault, but I just wanted something either more soul-crushing or a little more epic. It just doesn't hit that sonic high that some other tracks have, and as a result, it doesn't feel as grand as it tries to be. It almost feels like a lazier way of sort of wrapping up the album, and you can kind of hear this in the performances, to where it seems like you can't really hide the fact that you're tired of doing what you're doing. For an album that just offers so many highs, it feels like a fade out to the album. And this sugary slapped together feel, I don't know, I wanted a better send off. Like Sleep would have been an absolutely perfect ending to this album, in my opinion. That's what I wish these last few songs did, with this cacophony of darkness, or even for a grand and epic reformation, it just would have really lifted itself. This doesn't feel like it gets itself off the ground. It's just uncomparable to songs like Mama and Sleep in terms of actual impact for what it goes for, and as a result, it's a 6-. Alright, now we got the easy ones out of the way, because for these next ones, oh my god, this gets really tough. Number 11 is I Don't Love You. Gerard Way, at his most Aerosmith Steven Tyler, is super dramatic, it's heartfelt, tear-jerking, the imagery here is gorgeous and dramatic, same goes for the vocals in general, the guitar is really sweet, and it's certainly a really nice mid-cut, and I'd say the only downside is that it's drowned completely in its influence. But I think that it does a really good job with this while still sticking to its ideas and whatnot. But despite that, it doesn't really hurt it that much. Generally, it's a very powerful song. It's not exactly the most exciting follow-up to Welcome to the Black Parade, but it doesn't really have to be. It's more of a calm cool down, and it stands strongly in terms of context, while going back to the human grief process and dealing with like really big events and stress. It's an overall really strong cut. It's just not the most memorable, but it's certainly a really pleasant listen. I don't have a ton of problems with this song, and I do think it's a really sweet cut. For me, it's a 9-. I told you, this gets really tough. Number 10, House of Wolves.
Noise, explosive, loud, explosive, bouncing music, hear the loud noise, I only listen to distorted music with loud, overblown guitars. Yes, Gerard, overlap me with your loud voice, yes.
9-. Yeah, that's a little more what I'm talking about. Number 9, The End, is a great way of starting off the album. The period in this song title is not the only edgy thing in this song, I promise you that. The lyrics in this song, though, are so goddamn sharp. They're performed in such a powerful and heart-pounding way. It's such a fantastic and epic way of literally just launching the listener into the album, which I wish more albums would do. It's such an exciting, instant, and just punchy way of saying, hey, here you go, now you're in the album. Especially with how it transitions fantastically into Dead. I also love how the song is titled The End, and it's like the start of the album, but it's also an album that's all about sort of facing death. It's just a really creative way of saying, hey look, this album's going to give you a lot of things that are deeper than the surface, you know, you're gonna have to use your third eye. I see the future. Whoa. 9 out of 10.
Give me a sensory.
Number 8, The Sharpest Lives. Another skin crawling track that not only is fantastic, noisy, and an exciting rock song in itself, but it's also brain candy in its consistent flow of double entendres and just lyrics that keep you on your toes. It doesn't do a whole lot in terms of concept and moving it forward, but I think that it's just so goddamn orgasmic, and it's such a flaming ball of passion that's just packed into this song. Plus the guitar is really orgasmic and the chorus is endlessly catchy. For me, this song is a 9 out of 10. All these songs are really close together. I'm telling you, this list was not easy. Look, that is basically where the end left off. And you are strapped in, you're ready for the trip, and boom, roller coaster, just down on that drop right there. It throws you into the album in such a great way. It picks it up in flames, the album, it's infinitely catchy. The guitar work here is fantastic. The drums are so upbeat and in this iCarly fashion. However, it's not cringe. That's very important here. It feels rather epic, like the rock opera that it tries to go for. Unlike Green Day's American Idiot, which is not that epic. The lyrics are dark, and it sets up this concept in such a clever way. And I have to say, the real peak here is when he's mocking the doctor. In my honest observation. Like how he does that's really clever. It just is a really good way of moving forward the concept. It's really admirable. So for me, this song is also a 9 out of 10.
Say y'all, say I just got the living shit out of me.
This song is, I mean, there's so much bad about this song in terms of context. The placement, I'd argue, is near album destroying. It is so bad. But who cares? This is such a fantastic southern rock song. The lyrics are incredible. It's so punchy. It's so instantly catchy. Like, there's nothing to hate about this song besides the fact that it kind of ruins the rest of the album. Yeah, this song, I believe, is the reason why the rest of the tracks don't work in terms of context. Because this song, maybe it is supposed to be a predecessor for all of this happening, but man, Disenchanted is a horrific follow-up to this. While I think that this is a great follow-up to Sleep, it makes me ask the question, you know, would Disenchanted be a good follow-up to Sleep? It really is an interesting song in just where it takes up the space. I think that it's fantastic. Like, it's completely different from the rest of the album, but it feels like a daydream. It's just so much fun while being so dark and painful. For me, this song is 9+. What's that? A non-explosive song in the top 5? Cancer? At number 5? That's right. You heard that correctly. Cancer is quite literally the opposite of the song that was before it, House of Wolves, in the way that this is a slow burner that has a lot of meaning to the context. It stands tall at the center of the album as just an emotional piece that does a great job at making the hairs on my body just stand up in fear. It's really rare for lyrics to be as powerful as this in just the context of an album, but seriously, this song's a real gut punch, and I think it sounds beautiful. For me, it's a 9+. Number 4, This Is How I Disappear. This song is overwhelming. Oh my gosh, it hits so many sonic highs. I don't think every single detail in this track works as well as some of the others in the track listing do, but good God, this song hits. It hits hard, lyrically and sonically. Like, you don't have to be an edgy teenager to get these themes are dark and dreary. The imagery, unbelievable. It's so loud, it's so emotional. It feels like blood is spilling on the page as it's being sung. It has so many layers, it's just incredibly painstaking, and at the end, it's just, the ending is absolutely gorgeous, and just how dark it is. It's an incredible cut. It's so multi-layered, it's so detailed. For me, it's a 9+. Welcome to the Overplayed is a song that has become a cringy meme, much like most of the good music that's in the pop-punk genre. It is known that if you manage to sing this song completely from memory in front of a mirror, that Crank That Frank will randomly appear and start singing it with you. And then of course he will show up consistently in your YouTube recommended feed. That will never change. Memes aside, and despite this one unnecessary screaming moment that's in it, this song is absolutely stunning. It really is. It's just so unbelievably gorgeous, larger than life, passionate, epic, dramatic, overwhelming, unbelievably well performed, catchy, and most of all, emo. Crawling in my skin. Oh, so funny, bro. But seriously, the way that this song carries the concept is just so unbelievably admirable. The song is overplayed and popular for a good reason. It's just incredible. Like, seriously. It's so multi-layered, it doesn't get boring halfway through. It flows so well. It's just an incredible cut. I really have no complaints besides the one screaming part that's so unbelievably forgivable for just how passionate, how, like, the guitar, all the instrumental performances, like, everything is so tight on this song. It's just so well performed. You can just hear the effort being, like, slung on here. This song for me, relative to the album, is a 10. It's pretty incredible. Alright, now we get to the top two. This was pretty tough, I gotta say. These last two, oh god, I mean, oh god. So with Mama, my initial reaction to this song was overwhelmingly positive. The fade in when in the album though, like, even is better because it's just so creepy. In context, it works so perfectly where it's placed. It's just a really creepy entrance from a song that's such a slow burner like Cancer, and it's really just this great contrast to that. This was pretty much the song that I expected to be at the top of the list. It's not at the very top anymore, but definitely very freaking close. This breaks down the mental stress and disconnect from thinking straight. It just results in this heavy and excruciatingly dark track. Plus it has an unbelievable amount of orgasmic highs. The best, of course, being in the last third of this thing where it hits that incredible countdown into just this boom, 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 boom. But it's built in so well with like these twisted guitar whatever's, like, it's so twisted. Everything about this song is so mentally jarring. It's dramatic. It keeps building onto itself. It's incredibly well constructed. It's layered. I can go on for this, like, thing. I mean, my god, the dark choir, the callback to Carrying On. It's truly the climax of the album, and it feels like such a freaking gut punch of absolute insanity that reaches just an uncountable amount of sonic highs. And for me, in context, this thing is a 10. Alright, number one, you know what it is. Number one is Sleep. Good God, this is easily the best follow-up that you could have had to a song like Mama. This feels like round two, like the counterpart. And it's done in a really smart way. But there's just so much insanity in this song. And the gut punches, just, they're non-stop. And this reminds me so much of the ending for 3 Cheers of Sweet Revenge. 3 Cheers of Sweet Revenge. You had one job. Like, just due to the sudden remorse at the end of the track. Meaning aside, the song is just orgasmic and just incredible in how it's put together. The sound of the song is beautiful. The instrumentals bounce perfectly off of Gerard's vocals and make him the centerpiece of the whole song. The wall of sound to me represents sleep, and it's really important because it seems like this dream just becomes a unescapable nightmare by the end of the track. And the way that it's switched is just mind-blowing. Like, actually, I was... And you saw it in my initial reaction. It was freaking crazy, and I still think it's insane how incredible it is once he starts screaming "wake up," like how you just realize, like, everything for this song clicked for me. And it really is just such an epic representation of what's going on. And it's so hard to even follow this up. Which is why I think that the ending of this album really just slips up at trying to really put together everything after such an incredible sonic high and such a peak. Like, this thing was the pinnacle of the album for me. It really just hits so many emotional highs, so many sonic highs. It's really incredible. To me, this song really just defines the album being overwhelming. And to me, I'd say contextually, this thing, it really goes beyond the rating scale, because I really do believe this is one of those songs that just is so damn well put together that I can't help but just every time listen to it be in awe. And so it kind of breaks the scale, and it's getting that spicy 11 boys and girls, I guess. It really deserves it. The track itself is so unbelievable. It really is. So let's just wrap this up. The Black Parade is frustrating to me because I love this album. I really do, but I'm just disappointed by the direction it took at the very last leg here. It just seems like it falls off. It feels like you're watching a movie and it appears that they killed the protagonist, but the thing is you know that they're not going to kill off the protagonist. That's what this ending gives me. It feels cliche. Like, I don't know, something darker would have probably made me a lot happier. It would have left a harder impact on me. Like, hell, imagine if like it was just this incredibly dark and like menacing, unescapable, just continuation off of something like Sleep that was pushing forward, and the ending was the sad remorse that was what he was dealing with, and it left a question in your head. Here it seems like they resolve it in such a cheap and unfiltered, unfinished way. It just seems like it's lazy. But that's basically my only complaint for this album. I think everything before the ending is pretty much unreal. But at the end of the day, like, I don't feel like I was cheated out of a ticket to the rock opera. I'm leaving this thing incredibly happy with what I got. Like, unbelievably happy in comparison with what I came in with. It's like they said, hey, let's take these obnoxious cliches that are in our genre and just say, nah, I'm gonna do something different than that. It's like they really transcend what this genre's boundaries are. The only issue is at the very end, they sort of fall into those cliches. But besides that, man, this thing, it's overpowering, it's overwhelming, and for the genre that it's in, it's a masterpiece. My name is Bradley. I have a Brad taste in music. If you like the video, please check out my Patreon to help support me further. Check out the Discord also in the description. Share your emo opinions with other non-emos. And yeah, I love you guys so much. Thank you for 25,000 subs. Bless. All right, peace out.